This is my 1987 BMW K75. It's the standard version without any fairings, and today I'm going to change the faceplate on the speedometer. So if we look at the speedometer, this one here, this has all started to ripple inside, and soon it's going to stop this needle rotating. These are Ultima clocks that I bought about 15 years ago, and the only reason I think it can have done that is because I've started storing it in a wooden shed. Up until now it's been fine. I was going through my store and I realised I still had the original unit from my bike, which I took off about 15 years ago. And the reason I took it off is because the rev counter packed up completely, and in those days you couldn't get the gear kit to repair them, and I bought a new unit. You can see like the level of wear where the cables have eaten into it, but it has a really nice plastic bezel, and the part that I need is in really good condition, so I'm going to rob this one out. I think the hardest bit's going to be figuring out how to get that needle off. It's easy enough to get it apart. Just take these screws that are all around the perimeter out and it comes up to pieces. I noticed on mine that it's actually dated 96, and the reason for that is that I replaced the back for one that had the Gore-Tex vent. The original one on mine didn't have that vent because it's an 87 model. There are plenty of these faces for sale on eBay in a variety of colours, but they all seem to be calibrated in kilometres, so I wouldn't be able to replace the whole unit from eBay. I could not find one in miles an hour. Lidl were doing this amazing deal on electric screwdrivers. It was £15 for this cranked screwdriver and all those bits and the extension, so I couldn't pass that up. It just makes it so much quicker to take the thing apart. They're quite long. Now that I've taken all of the screws out, including the one that's hidden in the middle, just here, I should be able to just lift the whole thing out, the whole assembly. The whole of the back comes off, and then we can see inside in order to undo the screws that hold the unit to the front plate. There only appears to be 4 screws holding this in, so one here, one here, one here, and one just there. So I'll just pull them out as well. There are also 2 more screws, one here and one here, that have to come out, otherwise it doesn't want to come out. And then the easiest thing is just to drop it over on a soft surface and shake it until it falls, and it'll get to a point where you then just pull that out and the whole thing should just drop out. It's rather sticky because of the way that the mouldings work, but it does want to come. There we go. Hey! And then that's the unit off. That unit's in really good condition. It's got one mark on it just there, and I'm really tempted to compare that to the one that's already on the bike. The faceplate I want to take off is this one, and it's quite obviously held on with 3 slot head screws, so I'll get a small screwdriver to do that. But I need to figure out how this comes off without breaking it, because although it doesn't matter if I break this one, it will really matter if it breaks the one that's actually going on the bike. I've had to remove the needle, and that was easier than I thought, so I'll show you how to do it on this one. Put a piece of card on either side, and then what I've used is these long nose tweezers. You stick the tweezers in either side and then just lift it up and it pops off, and it's gone flying over there. Obviously to put them back on you just push them back on and they've got a click fastening. That was much easier than I thought it was going to be. I've put this one back on, but as you can see it's gone back to the wrong place, so I'm going to have to pop it off again. When you try to press this down, it turns the actual unit and puts it slightly out of place. That's really annoying. I've got one of these cheap little jeweller's screwdrivers that you get from the garden centre for about £3, and it comes with lots of different heads, and it's just nice and narrow and small enough to undo the very small screws that are holding it together. So there is the faceplate, all lovely and flat and square. There's a bit of discoloration in it, and I will have a go at cleaning that with something very mild like a glasses cleaner, but I think that's probably degradation from sunlight. That's what it looks like inside. You can see that the LED is delaminated because it's been in the shed for the last 15 years. It's possible that this unit could be resurrected, but it is in rather poor condition, and to be honest, I should just keep it for spares. Just looking at the screws, the long ones came out the back of the case, the shorter ones came from inside the case and hold the unit in place, and the three little ones actually hold the faceplate on. The needle pops off and pushes back on. It's quite hard to push it back on, but it does go back on. And you can see that this one's had a bit of a hard life because it's got quite a bend in it, and it always did. The bike had had a crash before I got hold of it. Now I know how to do it, I can go and take the one off the bike and swap these face plates over. Fortunately my bike is the non-fared version, so it's a 5-minute job getting it actually off the bike. One thing I noticed with this particular unit is that it's stamped with its manufacturing date 0496, and there are quite a few of these stamps, as though they want to make sure that you know that it was made then. And even the back is stamped 0496, and this is one that's got the Gore-Tex vents as well. The original one off my bike, which should be from 1987, doesn't have any dates on it, and it's just got that number. Now often people talk about square pins and round pins, so here's my original one with square pins, here's my replacement one with round pins. So just so you know, it makes no difference. The connector still connects to both of them and they still work in exactly the same way. Why they changed from one to another is probably to do with supplier of the electronic parts rather than anything clever. I've put the old one back together because, you know, who knows, in the future I might find some time to actually buy the kit and repair it, and I've just put a note inside that the rev counter doesn't work, so it actually needs a gear kit. And really it could do with 2 new faces. But as these parts are now all available, as I say, in some time in the future I might decide to do that.